What's good, YouTube? It's Nas and we back with another video. Road to 400 subscribers, of course. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Paul George. And I was just thinking, like, Paul George is not the best player to be talking about right now, because obviously we know how the media or the fans perceive Paul George now. But I'm going to be talking about Indiana Paul George, because that was probably my favorite version of Paul George. PG-24, PG-13, whatever you want to call it. But that was athletic Paul George, 360. The nigga that was just doing this and pulling up from half court, chewing his gum and shit. That was exciting Paul George. And he had to lead that Indiana Pacers team every single season since Danny Granger got injured. Do your homework on Danny Granger. Because, yeah, after Danny Granger got injured, that was Paul George's team. But we just gonna get into it, because I don't think Paul George is given the full respect or the credit for what he did in Indiana, and he never will, because I'm gonna be honest, like, the way his exit looked and the way Pacers fans perceive him, he is not getting that 13 retired, which he probably should for what he did or how he did it, but it's just not gonna happen. But let's just get into it. Do y'all remember exciting Paul George? Because I remember when I was younger, like, he was one of my brother's favorite players. Like, that was exciting Paul George. The battles against the Miami Heat, the battle against the Knicks, like, that team with fucking George Hill, Lance Stevenson, Paul George, David West, Roy Hibbert, like, that's a real team. I'm gonna keep it buck. Imagine them niggas was in 2K. Like, I'm pretty sure they're not in 2K, but they should, because they were a conference finals team basically 2 seasons in a row, but they just lost to, obviously, the big three in the Miami Heat. And what can you do when you're playing that powerhouse? Keep it buck. But in his first season, in the 2010-2011 season, PG averaged 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. He wasn't an established player at the time. In the 2011-2012 season, he averaged 12 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 2.5 assists. And again, he's still improving his game every single season. He's not the Paul George that we would get accustomed of seeing. My bad. But he would not be the Paul George we're accustomed to seeing throughout his Indiana days. In his third season, he won Most Improved Player of the Year. He averaged 17.5 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, and 4 assists. He went from a role player to obviously a player that can start on your caliber team. You see the minutes jump, so he obviously got better. And if you look back at young Paul George, he did not have a jumper. Like, I'm gonna just be straight with you. He was just this freak athlete at like 6'7", 6'8", before he hit another growth spurt, because obviously he did grow during that time. He got his weight up, and he just became a more skilled basketball player, which we want to see in the NBA today. But obviously, this season was where he really established himself in the playoffs, where he was in the conference finals against LeBron and the Heat this season. And they did end up going against the Miami Heat back-to-back. And in the 2013-14 season, he made his first All-Star appearance, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm most likely that was his first All-Star appearance. I'm not too sure. I don't know if he made the All-Star appearance in his most improved days, but I'm pretty sure he did. But in that season, he averaged 21.5 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. This Paul George was just fucking swaggy. Like, it was something about the 24. I had the sneakers, the PS4 PGs. Like, this era of Paul George was just a swaggy ass nigga. Like, everything he did on the court was swaggy. I'm not trying to glaze, but go back and look back at Paul George at that moment in time, and you tell me that nigga's not a confident, swaggy nigga that can obviously cross up your favorite nigga, because he's moving like that at 6'9". Like, we haven't seen, obviously, a calm, smooth presence at that height, except for KD. But KD's like 7 foot. I'm not going for the narrative that nigga's 6'10". He's not. But this will be the season before Paul George would obviously break his leg in USA. I'm not going to show that injury, because to that day, that injury still hurts my leg. And that was the last time we would see PG-24, which was a crazy era, which all the highlights he has in PG-24, he only played 4 seasons. So that just showed how good those 2 seasons were, from his most improved season and his All-Star season. That just shows how much of a jump Paul George really did, what he really made for this Indiana Pacers team to work and them to play their best basketball. But needless to say that he would come back, and we all know in the 2014-15 season, He only played 6 games because he was returning from injury. He was on a minutes restriction. He averaged 8 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 1 assist. And in the 2015-16 season, he returned in full form. He played 81 games. He returned to the All-Star game. Like, I be watching All-Star introductions. I don't know if I'm a weirdo for that. But they said, making his return to the All-Star game, Paul George. Yeah, that shit is just tough to me. He came back from a broken leg, even more skilled, or you can say a better basketball player. Like, yes, PG-24 might be my favorite version of him, but to be skilled, or the skill-wise, the athleticism, putting it all together with the defense, I think 13 Paul George, 15-16, and 16-17 was probably the best we've probably seen Paul George, except for his MVP caliber year in 2018-19. But let's just get into it. In the 2016-17 season, his last season with Indiana, he averaged 24 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. And that was the ugly exit I'm talking about. Like, when we talk about Paul George, like, are we going to talk about how he really leaves teams at the worst possible time? And every team manages to get better when he leaves. Let's just talk about that. Because when the Thunder left, obviously they got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for Paul George. And when he got traded from the Pacers, who did the Pacers get? I mean, who did the Thunder give up to give up Paul George? You give up Sabonis and Oladipo. Who does Sabonis give you? Sabonis gives you Tyrese Halliburton, and we see what Tyrese Halliburton this season. Yes, we didn't even probably know who the fuck Tyrese Halliburton was at the moment, but at the same time, looking at it now, we're saying Paul George is the catalyst of these trades, and I don't know. Like, I feel like it's not a fair analogy when we're talking about Paul George, because when we talk about the player and skill-wise, the player that was obviously people dream of having their own team in the NBA, for him to do that and him to be a superstar level player and a superstar level talent, he was just stuck in a conference with LeBron James. You had to beat LeBron James every single season, and that just wasn't happening when LeBron is making like 10, 12 straight finals appearances, and you got a team in Indiana where it's Paul George. Jeff Teague joined for the 16-17 season, I'm pretty sure. You got fucking Lance Stevenson coming back. You got Roy Hibbert dying after, let's not say dying, his career going on a downward spiral ever since his second All-Star appearance. So how do you expect a player like that to carry the team and carry the roster around that team? But I don't know. It's just, looking back at it, I don't think Paul George were in the right scenarios. Yes, we could say from the Clippers and the Oklahoma City Thunder, he was in a great scenario, but he didn't get the job done. He got injured when it was time to shine the brightest. But Indiana, we can't say that, because Indiana, Paul George was playing his heart out every single season. He was looking like the best player on the court some nights. And I know some of y'all just, when I'm talking, I think about the ball game. Side of the backboard shit. But I don't know. Like, maybe I just have a full different perspective on what Paul George is as a player and how I perceive him as obviously an NBA level talent. But I want to know how y'all feel about Paul George, and what do y'all think about Paul George's career, and what did y'all think about his time in Indiana? Because I'm just looking back at it like, he's nice. But I hope you guys enjoy. Subscribe. Good, y'all. If you made it to the end of the video, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And the channel icon's right here on the right, and there's a video on the left. Click one of them holes if you didn't watch it already, and subscribe. Help the channel grow, and I appreciate you.